So EarFun has some new headphones. These do support some premium features without that premium price tag. They sell for around about 70 to 80 US dollars, and we get LDAC support. So it's a superior codec compared to AAC or SBC, which are a lot older, and it's basically using a transmission rate which is 3 times that of those older codecs. And as a result, the quality is very good and almost indistinguishable between having this wired or using it wirelessly. That is how good the codec really is now. They're Hi-Fi Res certified, and you get noise cancellation in the highest level of up to 45 decibels. There's an ambient mode, a wind mode, application, and the battery runtime, very good, up to 80 hours using the older codecs, or around about 45-50 if you're going to use LDAC. And let's have a look at what we get with it. We do get a pouch. Really good to see this. Even though they sell for about 80 US, they include this, which some other brands just wouldn't. They only give you the headphones themselves. So inside you'll see that it's neatly packed away. We have the left and right parts to make it a little bit easier when you need to put this into this travel pouch. Otherwise, sometimes it's a little complicated. And yeah, you can see that it does fold in and lies flat there. So in this little tiny pouch here, this is where you will find our Type C to Type A cable. And then we have, yes, 3.5 millimeter to 3.5. So they haven't skimped on that, which is really good. And that means that you can plug them in and use these when you're traveling, say in an airline. But they didn't include that other brands often do. And that's the airline adapter. You know, the 3.5 millimeters to the single one. Well, you're going to have to source one of those, but you can get them from Amazon. They literally like only a couple of dollars or so. Checking on the weight of the Wave Pro, so you can see that they are here 171 grams. Not a bad weight. In fact, I would say that these are relatively lightweight compared to some of the others that I've covered out there that are well above 300 grams. Now, how do they get that weight down? Well, you can see plastics. Yes, they've used a lot of plastics here. It has a matte finish to it. Does feel good. So on the right side here, you can see they're clearly labeled left and right. On the right, you will find we have our controls there. So these are not touch controls. We've got noise cancelling, so you go through the different modes here. Our volume and the power button right there. And this is for the 3.5 millimeter cable if you are going to be using that. Status, LED. On the other side, there is nothing. Now these do turn in like this to lay them completely flat for storage and to put them in the case that I just showed you before. And there's a metal strap here, so we have some adjustability there for everyone's head, which of course is different shapes and sizes there. Now the padding along the top, this is good. It's made out of a synthetic material here that does have a bit of give and stretch in it, and I hope it doesn't start to perish later on and fall to bits. You know how that does happen? That used to happen to me, especially with some of the older Sonys that I had, and becomes a bit of a mess. Hopefully not with these, but only time will tell. And how comfortable is this? Well, it's good. I have noticed that the headband hasn't really given me any problems with any pain or fatigue or anything like that. What happens though is with the cups here, which are very nice and soft too, by the way. They give you a good seal, helping with that noise cancellation, the isolation there. But you do get a bit of moisture, heat build up with these, which is going to happen with any headphones, unfortunately. That's just one of the traits of going for this style here. So build overall good. Comfort is good here. And then the drivers within, well, they are 40 millimeters. So they're using some dynamic drivers here with a very broad response. So you can get a 40 kilohertz frequency response there. 5 microphones built into these. They also use those for the noise cancellation for voice calls. I'll give you a sample later on. And we're getting up to 45 decibels in reduction too with the ANC on, and of course that LDAC support. This is our application, which is called EarFun. Now, you don't have to log into this or register. You can skip that whole part and just go straight into the app. So you can see the battery life right here. You've got your different levels for our active noise cancelling. So strong, comfort, wind noise, ambient, that brings in the sound from outside, amplifies it a little so you can hear a bit better. It's almost like it is really like a hearing aid kind of effect. Normal. Gaming mode, so this reduces the latency to under 55 milliseconds, which is very good. And then we have our equalizer. So you've got their presets or the default, which I'm using, and you can customize that yourself. So you've got all your different bands right there. You can go and lower and boost up different frequencies if you want to increase the bass or whatever. You just need to tweak that up. And here you have custom controls as well that you can change, which is good to have this option. So you can see the options there for a single tap and then a long press for those 3 buttons there. You're able to do that, which is good. I love having all these different options. And then finally, under settings, there are firmware updates. I am on the latest at the time of this video, and just those other things I've gone through. But the important one is this one, Bluetooth audio quality. If you want to hear the best possible, especially the highs without that annoying compression, it's a data rate that takes a big hit on the battery. So instead of getting the 80 hours of playback you'd get just using AAC, using LDAC, you're going to bring that down to approximately 45, 50 or so hours. However, you gain in quality, of course. The data rate is 3 times that of your typical SBC codec, so it's a lot better. You don't get the compression on the highs, and they sound a lot more detailed, crisper. Highly recommended for people that really love their audio, and especially people that love treble as well. This is where you're going to hear it, as long as you play back high quality tracks, of course. So that's the application. A lot of options in there, including automatic shutdown too. You can set the time for that. Now, I've got to give EarFun credit where due. The tune of these and how they sound for that $80 price tag is excellent. Very, very good. So the bass is deep, it's powerful, it doesn't distort, doesn't clip, it doesn't affect the mids. The mids are good, vocals sound great as well. Highs are detailed and crisp without being excessively so, and they're not to that point where they're just overdone. No, everything's, I think, balanced quite well. Now, some people may listen to these and say, oh, the default tune, the bass could be a little more powerful, could have a bit more oomph to it. Well, I think it's fine the way they have it. Of course, you can change it with the equalizer. My only area of criticism on how these sound is the top end volume could be a little bit better. And this is a very minor. For that price tag, these, I think, sound fantastic, the Wave Pros. I'm watching a clip here now of Netflix. This is 3-body problem. I don't notice any problems at all with the latency using the gaming mode. If you use the gaming mode, it seems to be in time or at a level where you can't really pick up on the fact that it's not out of sync with the actors' mouths. In gaming, there's a fraction, split second you notice sometimes, but overall latency does check out here with the Wave Pro.
My example now with the Wave Pro from EarFun. So it sounds a little muffled, but you can hear that they are using some aggressive noise reduction here, AI noise reduction, and I've actually got a track of a busy train station playing in the background, and you can't hear it at all. So the AI, the noise reduction with the microphones for your voice calls, definitely does the job.
Now, they are labeled clearly, of course, left and right, like all good headphones would be, so that means you can get them on the right direction to start with. Now, once you place them over your ears, because of the seal they give you, it blocks out ambient noise to start with, but once you turn on that active noise cancellation, wow, big difference. Now, I've tested out ambient tracks, train station, aircraft cabin, buses and trains, all a big noticeable difference in just dropping that noise down completely. Other tracks and just testing out around the house that you still will hear people talking and things like that. So if you've got a co-worker that's sitting next to you, you're on your break, you probably want to get away from them still because you're going to hear a little bit of that. But otherwise, very good active noise cancellation. Now, the fit is comfortable. However, I have a criticism that really cannot be avoided with all headphones. It's the same, that in warmer weather, you do get a bit of heat build up, a little bit of sweat. I noticed that especially after wearing these for an hour or so that I had to let my ears breathe a bit because, well, they're sealed over completely, and I was getting a little sweaty with them. So that's one thing to bear in mind, and of course that can't be avoided. The other thing is the microphones from my sample I gave you for your voice calls block out ambient noise really well, do an amazing job using AI. However, I think my voice sounded a little bit muffled from that mic sample. It's just a minor complaint, but that's the only real thing. Otherwise, these sound fantastic. Battery runtime, even on LDAC, is 40 hours or so, which is very good. And then on SBC, it's 80 hours. So these here are the Wave Pro from EarFun. Thanks a lot for watching this review.